How do we eat and not feel guilty? Well, the first thing is to stop associating food with emotions. We tend to use food to soothe ourselves when we're stressed, bored, or lonely. And we also tend to restrict ourselves when we want to lose weight. That restriction often leads to cravings, binges, and feeling out of control. So instead of using food for comfort, find other ways to cope with your emotions, like taking a walk, calling a friend, or practicing mindfulness. You can even reward yourself for reaching a fitness goal with something that doesn't involve food, like buying yourself a new workout outfit or booking a massage. The second tip is to practice mindful eating. When we eat mindlessly, we're more likely to overeat and feel guilty afterwards. But when we pay attention to our food and enjoy it, we're more likely to feel satisfied and grateful. So before you eat, take a few deep breaths and focus on the present moment. Notice the colors, textures, and aromas of your food and savor each bite. This doesn't mean you have to meditate for 10 minutes before every meal, but simply being present and enjoying your food can make a big difference. Another important tip is to avoid keeping unhealthy foods in the house. If you're trying to eat healthy, it's hard to do when you're surrounded by junk food. Not only will you be tempted to eat it yourself, but you may also feel guilty if you eat it in front of others. So remove the temptation altogether by keeping only healthy foods in the house. This doesn't mean you never allow yourself to eat junk food. It just means that you won't be tempted to do it mindlessly. When you do eat out or have a cheat day, don't beat yourself up about it. Just acknowledge it and move on. It's also important to stop comparing yourself to others. Everyone's body is different and everyone has different goals. So what works for one person may not work for another. For example, someone who wants to gain muscle mass will eat differently than someone who wants to lose weight. Someone who's vegan will eat differently than someone who eats meat. And someone who has food allergies will eat differently than someone who doesn't. So focus on your own goals and what you want to achieve. Don't let social media or other people dictate how you should eat. You should also stop following fad diets or extreme diet plans. When we follow fad diets, we're often cutting out entire food groups or severely restricting our calorie intake. This can lead to nutrient deficiencies and disordered eating habits. So instead of following a fad diet, focus on making gradual changes to your diet that you can sustain over time. For example, if you want to lose weight, aim to eat a balanced diet that includes plenty of fruits, vegetables, whole grains, and lean protein. And if you want to gain muscle mass, focus on eating a diet that's high in protein and complex carbohydrates. Another important tip is to stop stressing over the perfect meal plan. It's okay to eat simple foods like chicken and rice or pasta and sauce. You don't need to be a gourmet chef to eat healthy. In fact, some of the most nutritious foods are the simplest to prepare. So don't stress yourself out trying to come up with complicated meal plans. Stick to the basics and enjoy them. And if you do want to try new recipes or meal plans, start with small changes like adding a new vegetable to your diet or swapping out white rice for brown rice. You can also get inspiration from cookbooks, magazines, or websites. But remember, you don't need to overhaul your entire diet in order to be healthy. I think it's also important to stop thinking that all fats are bad. Fats are an essential part of a healthy diet, and they provide our bodies with energy, help absorb nutrients, and protect organs. When we cut out fats from our diet, we may feel hungry and unsatisfied, which can lead to overeating. So don't be afraid to include healthy fats in your diet. Some good sources of healthy fats include avocados, nuts, seeds, and olive oil. Another thing you should stop doing is eating too quickly. When we eat quickly, we're less likely to pay attention to our food and more likely to overeat. Our stomachs take about 20 minutes to signal that they're full, so slow down and savor each bite. Take your time to enjoy your meal and pay attention to the flavors and textures. You may be surprised at how much more satisfied you feel when you eat slowly. You can also try setting a timer for 20 minutes before you start eating. This will help you to slow down and eat more mindfully. So many of us also feel guilty when we eat alone. We may think that we're wasting food or that we should be spending time with others instead. But eating alone doesn't have to be a bad thing. It gives us a chance to relax and enjoy our food without distractions. It also gives us a time to reflect on our thoughts and feelings, so don't feel guilty about eating alone. If you want to eat with others, then make plans to do so, but don't feel like you have to. If you're busy or don't feel like socializing, you can always wait until next time. And lastly, we should stop punishing ourselves for eating certain foods. When we feel guilty about eating certain foods, we're more likely to overeat or binge on those foods. We may also feel bad about ourselves and our ability to stick to a diet. Instead, we should focus on making gradual changes to our diet that we can sustain over time. Reward ourselves for reaching our goals, no matter how small they are. And remember that setbacks are normal and don't define us. Overall, the key to eating without guilt is to focus on making gradual changes to your diet that you can sustain over time. Don't try to overhaul your entire diet in one fell swoop. Start with small changes like adding more fruits and vegetables to your diet or cutting back on sugary drinks. And be patient with yourself. It takes time to change our eating habits. Remember that setbacks are normal and don't beat yourself up if you slip up. Just pick yourself up and keep going, and most importantly, don't feel guilty about eating. Food is meant to be enjoyed, and it's an important part of our lives. So eat mindfully, eat slowly, and eat without guilt. If you found this video helpful, please like and share it with your friends. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next video. And here's another video that I think you'll like.